morning! So we're back again, and in this video, Philippine Retirement Series, I'll get back to you on my promise. Because from my last video, I did say that I will tell you about a province which, in my opinion, is the best place for you to live in. If you wanna retire in Philippines, or if you wanna just check out Philippines and see if it's the right fit for you in lieu of your retirement plans. So, the place is called Bulacan Province, and it is very near Manila. It's like 30 to 1 hour away from Manila, and there's so much infrastructure development going on that they'll be putting the MRT train, which is like a railway, coming from Manila, going which will terminate in Bulacan. So it will make the travel even faster. So if you're coming from, let's say, the Manila Airport or Clark International Airport, which are the two busiest airport in the country, going to Bulacan is so easy for you. But why specifically do I prefer Bulacan over all the other cities and provinces which are just a stone throw away from Manila? Well, the reason is simple. Bulacan is essentially Manila without the traffic. So, like what I said, it's also, there are a lot of cities within Bulacan as well. So the population is, I will really say, like, just like Manila, maybe just a little bit dense than Manila, but it's like Manila. So if you're the type of person who really likes to go out and hang out with the locals and see different places and amenities and recreation options, but you don't want to spend as much as you would in Manila, then Bulacan is the perfect place for you. And I promise you, you wouldn't regret going there. It's very safe. But one more thing which I believe is better in Bulacan than in Manila is the climate and topography. So, as you all well know, there are two seasons in Philippines. You have the dry and the wet season, or the rainy season, which is essentially 6 months, 6 months, 6 months each. So the good thing about Bulacan is it's actually previously a mountain, which has turned itself into cities. So because it's mountain, before you will have like typhoon or cyclones, as you will, some, or hurricanes you would call it, but by the time it reaches Bulacan, the wind and the rain has drastically slowed down already. Why? Because the mountain actually acts as a shield. So if you're there, even if Manila is like so rainy and in some areas really flooded, when you go to Bulacan, there's not much rain. It's more of a drizzle. And the worst flooding that I've seen in Bulacan is probably just ankle deep. So this is from my own personal experience. So if you're the type who doesn't want to, worry about flooding, and nobody wants to worry about that 10 years from now, 5 years from now, given the climate change that's happening all around us. So in my opinion, this is one thing that Manila doesn't have that Bulacan does have. And because it used to be like really just mountains, which has turned itself into cities, Bulacan has more shade, more green than Manila, obviously. And one more thing is, in Philippines, you have the dry and the wet season. So during the dry season, you sometimes have these severe, we call it El Nino, wherein the dam or the watershed, which stores the water that supplies water to the whole of Manila, suddenly decrease its level, so the water reaches critical value. This dam actually is located in Bulacan. So it is quite rare that you will have water shortage problem in Bulacan compared to Manila. So Manila might have worse water problem than Bulacan. So it's something that's less to worry about when you're moving to Philippines. Because one, you don't want flooding. Two, you don't want your water to be interrupted. So I think the most that I know, maybe in a year you'll just have 1 or 2 days of a few hours of water interruption, but that's it. So Bulacan is likely the least likely to have water interruption within Mega Manila. I mean outside of Mega Manila. So that's one thing. And because it's so near Manila, the infrastructure is basically like Manila. Sure, you can go to other places in Philippines, and they probably don't have the same internet speed that you would, that you need to do whatever that you want to do. And this is less of a problem in Bulacan because of its proximity to Manila. The same thing when it comes to police visibility, when it comes to um, road safety. You have more infrastructure because of its proximity to Manila, and because it's really basically cities that compose the Bulacan province. So you're not gonna feel like you're outside of Manila. In fact, when you're in Bulacan, you don't really have to go to Manila because everything you need is there. Like if you need to go to a government office, they have satellite office in Bulacan. It's everything is so connected that you really don't have to go to Manila unless you need to go to the airport, because whatever you need, Bulacan has it too. And having said that, because when you're a retiree or when you reach that age, healthcare will always be a priority. So you've got really, really good hospitals in Bulacan, or if you want to really go to Manila still, then you have the option because it's so near. But from what I have observed, because of proximity to Manila, the same doctors who are practicing in Manila practice also in hospitals in Bulacan, because it's basically like just 30 minutes drive away. So they also hold offices and consultations and surgeries and procedures in Bulacan hospitals. So you don't have to really go to Manila. And of course, the upside of that is it's a bit cheaper because it's outside of Manila, and still you have the same doctor performing your surgery or your operation or your consultation. And I know this firsthand. So the quality of the hospitals are really like the tertiary hospitals, which means it's the highest accreditation. You have primary, secondary, and tertiary. So you've got several tertiary hospitals to choose from in Bulacan. And the doctors are the same as the ones practicing basically in Manila. So you don't have to travel to Manila. You can just have your doctors in Bulacan, and you don't have to worry about traffic going to Manila. And one more thing is the recreational facilities and services, because well, you're a retiree. You want to make sure that you're just a stone throw away from the mall or from the cinema or from the resort or whatever place you want to enjoy yourself in. So you have all these amenities like what I said in Bulacan. So doing your groceries, you don't have to worry that if you run out, you have to like buy in bulk because the grocery store, the department store, the mall is so far away. No, it's basically you have a lot of mall options and store options to choose from. So even though it's like city rate, it's still competitive pricing because there's so much option. So the supply makes the prices of things more competitive for you. And if you like expat goods or imported goods, you can also find it in the mall, or or if you want, you can go and travel to Clark, which is basically the neighbor of Bulacan. But I think the thing that I like about Bulacan compared to Pampanga or Clark or Subic, which is where the U.S. military base used to be, is one, it's away from the volcano. Number two, Bulacan is basically a mountain, so like what I said, flooding is not really an issue, and water security because it has the Angat Dam. So, but if you still like want to enjoy the Clark and Subic facilities because you got some friends there, then it's so easy for you to go there too. One more thing is that I like is, yeah, it's so near to the airport. But I think if you are thinking of putting up a business, then you've got very good market for it, because like what I said, its population is so dense. Basically, the people who are working in Manila, would most of them would be coming from Bulacan, and they just travel to Manila like every day. because in Bulacan they can get cheaper housing, they can start a family, and they don't have to worry about, you know, paying so much for rent. So a lot of the population boom is happening in Bulacan. A lot of housing developments that you can choose from, and basically you can just rent. The rent is also so much cheaper compared to Manila, like several times cheaper compared to Manila. And you don't have to sacrifice much because, like what I said, it's so near Manila, and they're constructing an MRT, which is basically the same one that's in Manila, and the last station will be in Bulacan. So traveling from Bulacan to Manila is going to be like just a few minutes. You just have to ride a train. And when all of this happens, then you wouldn't really feel like you're outside of Manila. Because honestly, when I'm there, I don't feel like it's not Manila at all. It's basically, essentially the same as Manila. And last but not the least, in Bulacan, which is another like township within Bulacan, one of the biggest companies are putting up an airport. So you'll have three international airports close within each other. You're gonna have the Subic or Clark Airport, International Airport, which is already operational. You have the Manila Airport, which is of course the biggest one and the busiest one, and the one that's in planning and to be constructed will be placed in Bulacan. So that would be the third international airport, which is still on planning, but there's already a winner for the bid. So because of those reasons, I think in the long term, best value for money without sacrificing quality of life and healthcare options and recreation options, Bulacan is the best bet for you. So I hope you like this video. If you want to ask specific questions about Bulacan, because I've been there a lot of times, then you can just feel free to ask questions and I'll be more than willing to share what I know about the place. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and my next video would be about healthcare insurance. So please click like and subscribe, and again, keep a positive attitude despite and in spite of COVID, and let's plan our retirement early and smart. Thank you and have a great day.